Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. This next post is from the 20th of March 2011 and it's really exciting because it was over this weekend that I discovered the number one thing that was to help Ben recover from his eating disorder, slowly but surely, but consistently. It was the number one thing that really worked for Ben and for us as a family. And I found this tool on the Around the Dinner Table forum. It was a post that another parent had actually made that weekend, and I was just looking around the forum to see what information there was that might help us, and I came across this and it was like a eureka moment, to be honest. So this post from the 20th of March 2011 is called Trying Out a Recovery Contract. I've just been incredibly inspired by a thread on the Around the Dinner Table forum about recovery contracts. Why has no one in our treatment team suggested something like this, I wonder? They sound like a really workable idea at this stage in Ben's recovery. It is so important that, having been in limbo land for so long, we move forwards in a purposeful way. I already laid the cards on the table, so to speak, at Cam's on Friday about my plan for the next few months. As a way of implementing my plan, setting up a contract seems like a great idea, and Ben thinks so too, so far. Basically, the idea is that at various stages of recovery, you draw up a written contract which you stick to until the time comes to review or revise it. Certain parameters and goals are set out which need to be achieved within agreed timeframes. When the eating disorder sufferer sticks to elements of the contract, they earn rewards, for example in the form of points, which can add up to a worthwhile reward. Not food, obviously, and preferably not cash. As the thread suggests, it could be a sleepover at a friend's house, a trip out, or whatever it is that floats your teenager's boat. When they don't stick to the contract, you agree a list of consequences, like the removal of an iPad, no sleepover, or whatever it is that your child would hate to be without. Obviously, the aim is to drive forward with continuous momentum towards an end goal and prevent what I call pussyfooting around with an unclear, vague or non-existent plan. Having it all typed out on paper too is so much better than verbal agreements which can be quickly forgotten or denied. Also, particularly in our situation, a written contract is a good talking point, so I can regularly review progress with Ben. We do this anyway, but having the contract will be a useful reference tool. My ultimate aim is to get Ben to consistently increase his weight within the recommended guidelines and avoid relapses or slips, also to curb any compulsive exercise. Looking back over the past 6 months, we have had enormous improvements in virtually every aspect of the recovery process, except weight gain and exercise issue. I refuse to do the same for another 6 months. The time has come for Ben to put on some serious weight, slowly but most definitely surely, otherwise I will have to take a tougher stance. I have yet to draw up our contract, but obviously the idea is that you personalise it to your situation and where you are on the recovery ladder, so watch this space. And that's the end of that entry. One thing we didn't implement in this recovery contract was the bit where it sounds like you almost punish them for not managing to achieve something that's on the contract, I scrubbed that almost straight away, because the contract in my mind was all about encouraging and being there and helping him to move forward. And it's not about punishment, and it's not about bribing either, and it's not about being too rigid and introducing yet more rigidity, because that's the kind of thing that the anorexia loved, and we didn't want to feed, so to speak, the anorexia rather than helping Ben recover. So it was all very new and very much at the early stages of this contract, which Ben and I together, and that's the important point, together, were going to develop over the next few days, weeks, months, into something that was completely personalised to him. And looking back years later, Ben said the recovery contract, as we called it, was the number one thing that helped him to recover. And in the next post, what I'll do, rather than read a post from my blog, I will read the bit about the recovery contract that's also on my blog on a different page. So that's the end of that post, and thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.